Shalom, Yashrala. This is your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise unto Yahawah, Bahashim, YAHAWASHI, Bahashim, Rakah Kodash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Akim, pushing this truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to get into this here article, which is, still signs of the end of Babylon, all right? Because, I've actually been doing a couple videos here and there on the same topic, but if you watch the mainstream media and things like that, and you listen to these people that's talking, especially around the election time, man, and you caught up in all of that, they're how do I say, they got a phrase for this. They're the little line that they had to, sticking to the script, more or less to say, the little line that they had to feed out to the people, you know what I'm saying, for certain things, like when Donald Trump was running for president, he had to play on the fact that the economy, he was playing on the fact that the economy was all fucked up, blah, 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 and I'm going to do better, and so on and so forth. Where in reality, what was going on was the economy had tanked at the end of George Bush's term, all right? That was where it trickled down it, because if you remember, George Bush gave you personally not a reparations check, damn, I can't even think of the name of the damn check was now. They want to give you a goddamn check, basically every American that paid taxes that year pretty much got a damn check in the mail, Then Barack Obama, what the hell is it called? Damn, I can't think of the name of it. But nevertheless, the second go round, all right, that was the so-called stop the economy from collapsing at that point in time when Bush was in office, all right? And, you got to go into the 9/11 deal and so on and so forth about, actually September 10th. Or you can go on YouTube and type in September 10th, 2001, all right, Donald Rumsfeld, right? They was basically in court talking about how they was missing like $1 trillion or $10 trillion or whatever, whatnot, which was like the first time that America went into like $1 trillion debt, which is the beginning half of this whole economy collapsing. This is all orchestrated. It was all done on purpose. And if you also go into George Bush and the George Bush times, he's the one that started out with the enactment of what do they call it? The biometric system. It was called something different. I can't think of what it was called now, but nevertheless, it's pretty much, the beginning stage, the foundation to be set for this RFID chip to be pushed, all right? Oh, it's called the Real ID Act, all right? So where, they put in a law where they was going to start changing up passports, driver's license, and so on and so forth. And I know, like, now here in Florida, I know I got one. I don't know if all Floridians have it yet or whether or not it's time they have to renew their license. But nevertheless, we got new driver's license now to where there's an actual chip, an RFID chip inside your license, all right? Which is all part of the Real ID Act, also going into biometrics, which is the beginning of this RFID system, or the market of beast system, all right? But nevertheless, you have George Bush, it started with him, and you go into Barack Obama, right? Now, in Barack Obama's time, the economy was actually, because it had already tanked in the middle of his presidency, or the beginning of his presidency, really, but at the end all be all, it started going on the ups, right? But if you listen to the people, or the news, they're like, oh, we're recession, because that's what they was already going through. So Donald Trump plays off of this, all right? Oh, well, the Democrats, Barack Obama beforehand, the economy's all messed up, whatever, whatnot. In reality, the economy was already going up. You know what I'm saying? But that's their little line that they're trying to feed you. Same thing with this here scenario, man. When these elections going on around, whatever, whatnot, Donald Trump's going to keep championing that he's making the economy better. The stock market is as high as possible, or as high as it's ever been. Which in reality, I mean, yeah, the stock market is going up, but this is that inflated bubble that we're talking about here. All right, this is not even real money going into there. They're sucking the money and the resources out of your everyday Americans. All right, this is why you're starting to see these commercials like the Acorn app, right, where you can save some little money and invest it to the stock market. Notice how they're trying to get any and everybody. Anybody with a smartphone, they can start investing in the stocks now. Whereas the stock market was basically it was like drug dealing, man. It was like a way for the Edomites to really make it a whole lot of money, man. Just moving money around, But now it's to the end of the system. These people that's really into this shit and the elites, the higher ups, and they're pulling their physical money out, all right, and also trying to lure you to put your money in so it doesn't look like, let's say for instance, right, we got a stock, right, and it's an air balloon, hypothetically, we're giving a metaphor, right, it's an air balloon, and this is the IPO, right, the stock, you buying a Walmart stock, right? Now the value of the stock is based off of how much air you putting in there, right? Now the air is going to be representative of the money. Now the balloon is going to be full at $100, right? If you're following me. So You keep putting the money in, it's like you blowing up this here balloon. Now you got to the max, the $100, right? And that's your, you being the elites, that's your money. Now you can convince the people this is a good stock to start investing in, because you know that this here thing is about to blow. So what you do is you try to get somebody to invest $10 into it, right? So they invest their $10. Now you have $110 in this here balloon, but the balloon can only fit $100. So what you do is you pull out 10 of your dollars while they put 10 of their dollars in, so the whole complete stock still look like it's full at $100. That stock look like it's still going good, but slowly but surely, because they own all the damn stocks in it, they're pulling their shit out and convincing you to put your shit in there because they know this is all about to collapse anyway. All right, so you wouldn't really notice that the how do I say, the overall value of the stock or the overall amount of money that's into the stock market is actually being pulled out of it. All right, people don't understand that. All right, because they see these numbers going up. And another thing that is going on is Donald Trump is also redirecting certain funds and basically depositing a lot of it into the stock market or in the bonds and things like that. All right, which is a lot of dealing with the petrodollar. All right, a lot of this here American dollars are coming back to America because these people don't. You see it in the news, China, Russia, and these other people, they're trying to trade in their own currency, which is devaluing the American dollar because now you're having, crates and crates and crates of American money coming back to America, all right? The value of American money is based off of the amount that there is in circulation, all right? So if there was no money in circulation and one person had a dollar bill, that motherfucker is the richest person out there because that $1 bill is way more than everybody else has, all right? Now, but if you have, let's just say the whole population was 100 people, and all 100 of these people had that $1. That $1 is not that valuable, all right? But but nevertheless, this is how do I say? This is them propping up this here system before they pull the plug on it, all right? This is what's ultimately going on right now, all right? They're liquidating this here system, all right? This is why they're convincing everybody, again, to keep putting money into it, join the Acorn app, and so on and so forth, because ultimately they know that they're going to pull the plug on this thing, and this whole thing is going to collapse, all right? They're not trying to take a loss on their end. They're trying to, suck all the money up out of the American people. It's the same plan that they did in the housing market crash, all right? They had, they wanted to basically take money from the people, all right? They convinced a vast majority of the people to start buying these homes and whatnot. A lot of Jake, they was convincing them to get their first home and own their first home. It's affordable now with the subprime mortgages and whatnot. And then a lot of these Edomites, they was telling them it's a hustle, bro. Go buy you 2, 3, 4, 5 houses. I remember a couple people back in those days, they was having 4 and 5, 6 houses, buying them and renting them out. You know what I'm saying? But now all of a sudden, the little bit of things that you did have, you started investing that into the housing market. But then what happened? They pulled the plug, they raised the rates on the housing market, all right, which nobody could afford to pay for these things, all right? Then what happened? All right, they were all default on all these things. So guess what? Not only did they take, the houses back, they also fucked up your credit, so you can't get nothing else, you can't get nothing else in your name for a while, all right? They got the houses back, they got your credit all fucked up. Now everybody's out here, and then also with your credit being fucked up, you can't get jobs all the time, all right? So unemployment's going up, people are losing their homes, renting is going up. You see what I'm saying? So they took everything from you by getting you to put your money into this here thing and then pulling they shit up out of there, pulling they into the bargain out, all right? Which leaves you there trying to support the whole system, which you ain't strong enough to do so, all right? The same way with the stock market, man. They got you putting your money in there, all right? Because they think they're showing you that it's so-called stable and everything is going good. But once they, finally pull the curtain and you see that they didn't pull all their stocks out, you're not strong enough to hold those stocks up. So what is going to happen? You're going to wind up, it's going to collapse on you, and you're going to have to take all the responsibility or all the debt for owning that stock, man. You're going to wind up losing everything, all right? And then also, the flip side is going to ultimately devalue the money because if the stock market start crashing, everybody is going to start doing bank runs and so on and so forth, man. The American dollar is going to basically go to shit, man. All right, and reading this here article, you'll already see that the American dollar is already done, man. It's from RT. It says, game over. U.S. stock bubble has already popped. Peter Schiff tells boom bust. And that's really what it is, because since they started having things like quantitative easing 1, damn near to infinity now, you know what I'm saying? What that is them basically, quantitative easing. It's basically what it sounds like. They, slowly but surely easing the pain. All right? It's just like this, man. Like, let's say you got a credit card and your credit card is maxed out, right? And you can't pay the bill, right? And your credit card is maxed out. But before they sit there and send your credit card into collections, let's say you got a limit of $500, right? Before they send your ass to collections, they'll be like, you know what? We're going to give you quantitative easing. We're going to raise your debt limit a little bit to $700. You know what I'm saying? So you're not maxed out. So, but then now, you still behind on your bill. So what you going to do? You're going to charge that bitch up. So now you back at, maxing your credit card, but you still can't pay it off. So, I mean, it's just kind of so-called easing the pain, but you still broke at the end. All right, and quantitative easing is the same thing, basically like that, all right? You got something called a fiscal year. It's like fiscal year is basically like a regular year, but it just starts and ends at a different time. You know, it's still a 365-day thing, but when you get into business and things like that, you hear them talking about first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, all right? Fourth quarter sales, third quarter sales, all right? And this is based around basically like a fiscal year, all right? When the government writes checks, you know, you hear about them, you pay taxes pay for the roads and this and that, the military budget, so on and so forth, right? So the beginning of the fiscal year is where they basically cut the check, and then they basically plan out all they spending and how they get through the year. All right, now it comes to the time where I think we're at the end of this fiscal year right now, like October, November. All right, whereas like you seen at the end of last year, all right, the government kept shutting down because they didn't have enough money, and then what they had to do, they had to keep injecting money into the system, all right, to finish paying the bills so they could pay all the governmental employees, man, the people that work at the tag office, the police officers, the firefighters, so on and so forth, man. They had to pay for these people and the construction workers and so on and so forth, man. All right, but nevertheless, you know, when they get to the end of the fiscal year and they ain't got no more money, then what are they gonna do, man? All right, we're gonna read this here article to show you some of the things that they've been doing. So, like I was saying with quantitative easing, that's already showing you already broke, bro. You done maxed out your credit card. You ain't got no job. I mean, it's gonna only be a certain amount of time before we send your ass to collections. I mean, we can keep raising your limit, but it's just making your overall debt that much worse. You see what I'm saying? Like, yo, when you was about to default on your goddamn credit card and you was going to collections, it was only going to collections for $500. But because we've been so-called quantitative easing or trying to stop this from happening, kicking the can down the road, all we've been doing is raising your debt limit. All right, so you went from $500 in the debt going to collections to now we didn't raise your limit all the way up to $5,000. So that $500 didn't turn to $5,000. You couldn't pay the $500. How much more to $5,000, man? This is the bubble collapsing, all right? So it says, game over. U.S. stock bubble has already popped. Peter Schiff tells boom bust. The Federal Reserve plans to inject $60 billion per month into the U.S. economy, which is showing signs of slowdown. And now, when you had mid-September, all right, or damn near the end of September, they ran into this here problem where they ran out of money, all right? And so what they was doing was injecting, like, I think, $60 billion into the economy every single night, you know, while everybody was asleep. You know, they was injecting $60 billion into the economy every single night because, again, they had to run out of money. Like, you can't start off the next day and can't pay the police officers, so on and so forth, and you ain't even made it to the end of your fiscal year, you know? So they had to inject $60 billion a day just to wind up making it, from day to day to day to day, you know? That's just like, you behind on your bills or whatever, whatnot. You don't get paid for 2 weeks, but here it is on Monday. All right, you got to get to work back and forth, get gas or get a bus ticket, so on and so forth. So you keep borrowing money, and then every dollar that you borrow, you got interest on top of it, right? Now you didn't borrow so much money just to get to work, just so you can get a paycheck, all right? But your paycheck, let's say your paycheck hypothetically is $300 at the end of the week, right? Now you didn't took out more money, borrow money just to get to work. You done borrowed up to $500. Even when you get your paycheck, you $200 still in the debt, and this is gonna repeat the cycle for next month, man. All right, that $200 in debt gonna turn to $400 and $600, $800, so on and so forth, man. This is what's going on when they keep pumping this here money into there. All right. Also, Donald Trump raised the debt limit, man, or the debt ceiling. All right. Basically, the same thing as like I said with your credit card, man. You done maxed your credit card out, and they just you can't pay your bills, so they just raise your credit limit. You know what I'm saying? So your credit card's not maxed all the way out, but it's like, yeah, well, you just put more. You gave it more room for them to go further in the debt. That's all you did. All right. It says Federal Reserve plans to inject $60 billion per month into the U.S. economy, which shows signs of a slowdown. It's reported to be preparing a rate cut next week, but still claims that nothing is wrong with the system. And like I was saying beforehand about the $60 billion a night, all right, they was doing that to October 10th, but then they had to change it up because it wasn't enough money. Then they had to start putting like $110 billion a day all the way up to October 10th. All right, now they're saying it's like, well, we're gonna have to keep doing this, to the end of the fiscal year or the end of the year. Who knows which one it's gonna go to? But nevertheless, maybe for the next month and a half, 2 months, they're gonna keep pumping this $60 billion into the economy every month, man. All right. It says it is reported to be preparing a rate cut next week, but still claims that there's nothing wrong with the system. Now, we damn near at 0% on interest rates, man. Now, they talking about going to a negative percentage interest rate, which is going to damn near, how do I say this? It's going to bankrupt the basically the economy, man. Because right now, you paying money to borrow money on the loan, right? You go get a loan, they charge you 16% interest rate. You go get a car, whatever, whatnot, they charge you an interest rate. That means you paying extra interest on borrowing the money. You got to borrow $30,000. They're gonna be like, all right, we're gonna charge you $5,000 to borrow this. You gonna, wind up paying $5,000 in interest, right? However, when you at a negative interest rate, all right, they wind up paying you for borrowing the money, which sounds fucking retarded, but you'll see how this immediately destroys the economy, man. All right, because again, you go to the bank, you get a loan, you normally have to pay them back, which keeps the banks in how do I say, not employed, but in business, right? Because they're making money off of that. But however, if they're now paying you to come to the bank to get a loan for your new car, okay, now how is the bank making money at this point in time? They're paying you to come use the bank, which normally they would make money from you using the bank, but now they got to pay you just to come inside the door, man. So in turn, what do you think a lot of people are going to do? The people with the credit, to be able to get the credit and they're smart enough to do it, they're going to go start taking out loans, because it's not that they're going to be paying interest on the loans. They're going to be getting paid to take loans out. So where do you think that this interest money going to come from? It's just basically like you got a vacuum cleaner, right? And you got the little hose extension, and you sucking up some sand in the corner, and the vacuum is going in one direction, right? It's sucking up the particles of dirt, right? Now, if you had a switch on there to reverse the polarity of what's going on there, instead of sucking out all the dirt, sucking the dirt all into the vacuum and start blowing it back out, this is what you have going on, man. So your purpose is to use the vacuum to clean up all the dirt off the floor, but now you spreading more dirt on the floor than what you begin with. So what is this? You're going to completely defeat the purpose of what you even got the vacuum there for. Same thing that's going on here with this here situation, man. When you go to a negative percentage on interest rates, man. All right, the banks and stuff start paying you to take out loans, man. Yeah, y'all want to come get cars? More, a lot of people look at interest rates. They start taking out loans as to how much it's going to cost me to get that, because you borrow $100, it's not going to be $100 that you take back, man. All right, but nevertheless, or just think about Jake. Jake go to Amscot and shit like that. You go borrow like $400, $500. They charge you like, let's just say $25. So it's like $525. You got to, you borrow $500, you got to pay them back $525. But imagine you going to go to Amscot to borrow $500 and they paying you $25 just to go do it. Jake will be like, shit, we gonna go do this shit every day. Just got a new job. So go get loans and then just pay the shit back. They're gonna give us money on top of that shit, man. All right, so this, you got everybody doing this. Your economy's gonna be suck dry of all of this, the money that's in there. All right, so just ignore what they say and look at what they do, and that's the key thing here. Because like I said about the elections and things like that, they're gonna sit there and tell you that everything is good, depending on who they are. If you Donald Trump, you're gonna say that everything is good to make people think that you doing all this to make them think, oh, we benefited from having this motherfucker, right? But if you was on the opposite and you trying to get into there, you would do what Donald Trump did when Barack Obama was still in office. He was like, oh, this is a shithole. They got all these people in here and we got to drain the swamp, blah, blah, blah. Putting, magnifying small problems on one end and making it seem like that's such an issue so you can capitalize off the other situation, But nevertheless, this is what's going on. Is you have to watch what they do and not what they say. All right, they're telling you, oh yeah, get this Acorn app, invest in the stock. It's so good, it's so good. But what you seen a lot of these big investors sell off a lot of their stocks. I remember maybe a couple years back, I think it was the Rothschilds, it might have been the Rothschilds, or it might have been the Rockefellers, wound up selling all their stake in oil. All right, granted they get money off of oil other ways, but their personal stocks, like, why the fuck? Hold on, this nigga, they about to make a move. They getting rid of all their shit, man. It's just like you see Jake in the Hood or anybody, anybody for this case, you know what I'm saying? When you start seeing them getting a lot of boxes, they start boxing everything up in their house. You know what I'm saying? You see the garage door open, they got everything boxed up. You see that moving truck out front. You could put two and two together like, oh shit, these motherfuckers finna move, right? This is the same thing that's going on with these top people that know what's going on. They're pulling their money out, but they're convincing you to put your money in, all right? It says, just ignore what they say and look at what they do. Peter Schiff of Euro Pacific Capital tells Boom Bust they're trying to desperately keep the air from coming out of the bubble, but it's not going to work, he said, explaining the bubble has already popped. According to Schiff, the only question is how fast is the air going to come out and when the market is going to figure out that the game is over, understand that the Fed is over and understand what the Fed have been doing to the true nature of the bubble of this economy. Again, they just propping it up and they trying to suck all your resources out of it, getting you to, they enticing you with all these new things. Come get this, come get that. It's a good deal here, good deal there. People are taking out these here loans. They're going to entice them with negative percentage interest rates and so on and so forth. Get your small business started or whatever, whatnot. Ultimately, they're going to wind up taking every damn thing from you. The economy's going to collapse and you're going to have implementation of this cashless society, which is the RFID chip, which is the mark of the beast. It says consumers are confident that the economy is a disaster, he says, adding that they don't have any money, they have lousy jobs, no savings, and they're loaded down with debt. And again, this is another lot of, watch the laws they're making. Donald Trump goes in, we've created so many jobs since I became president. All these jobs, unemployment is going down. And in a sense, he's right. Under his presidency, there has been a lot of jobs created. There is a lot more people employed. Unemployment is kind of going down. But when you put it in reality, what the fuck is going on? You had a bunch of doctors, welders, skilled trade people lose their jobs. All right, now they working at fucking Uber Eats, DoorDash, shit like that. That's not no real job, man. They can't sustain their living and compensate on what they was getting paid off of that beforehand. So, granted, you know what I'm saying? If you had 100 different doctors at this here hospital working, all right, maybe making 6 figures a year or whatever, whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Now the hospital closed down. All 100 of those doctors decide to go do Uber and Lyft. Technically, they still employed. But are they really employed? Or that's what the term called is underemployed, man. All right, they're employed under the rate of what they need to be getting paid. You know what I'm saying? Or how to say overqualified and like overqualified. You got doctors and stuff like that who went to school for skilled trades. They over here working at McDonald's and driving Uber. And you see that a lot right now. You see a lot of people driving Mercedes Benzes. You know what I'm saying, and doing Uber and stuff like that in those type of cars. Or, doctors and stuff like that. You look at California, man. You got these people working in Silicon Valley and doctors and stuff like that sleep in the parking lot in their car because they homeless, man. All right? But nevertheless, let's grab a couple scriptures real quick. I'm going to read actually 1 through 4, 1 through 5, 1 through 4, 1 through 5. Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 1. Remember now thy creator in the days of thy youth, when the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say I have no pleasure in them. All right, because right now you have a lot of people that's living it up in this here world, taking advantage of, I want to, like, and regular Jake, they would be growing up, you see them doing all their wickedness as they growing up, and then they say when they get older, I'm going to give my life over to Christ or whatever, whatnot, when they get older, right? Same thing, right now they got the term I'm living my best life. I'm going to worry about all the other consequences when I get there. I'm going to just go out and do whatever I want to go do right now, man. All right, but this isn't the time, especially when things ain't so bad right now. You don't got like martial law people fighting over a goddamn bag of rice or a loaf of bread. You know what I'm saying? You can still go get you whatever you want 24 hours a day here in Babylon, all right? But these are the days when you need to remember the Lord. We need to go ahead and prepare yourself for the things that's coming. You don't want to try to prepare yourself when the economy collapse, all right? And they implement an RFID chip. You know what I'm saying? You in line for the RFID chip. You ain't got enough time to get these here breakdowns to understand what's going to happen if you take that damn chip, man. But now is the time when you have liberty and you have time, and the doors of salvation are still open, man. The doors of repentance, man. All right? So it says, verse 2, while the sun or the light or the moon or the stars have be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain, and the days when the keepers of the house shall tremble. Who's the keepers of the house? The so-called elites, the people up at the top, man. Why are they trembling? Because what we read in that article, man, economic collapse, man. All these people who have hundreds of millions of dollars in the stock markets, seeing all this about to just go away, man. All right. It says, in the days when the keepers of the house shall tremble and the strong men shall bow themselves. All right. And the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows are darkened. And the door shall be shut in the streets when the sound of grinding is low. So it says, and the grinders cease because they are few, and the door shall be shut in the streets when the sound of grinding is low. Talking about basically jobs going out the window, man. Like these manufacturing companies, we ain't got no more of those really here in America. Are you seeing things like Kmart, Toys R Us, and all these different businesses closing down, man? Malls are closing down and things like that, man. All right, that's the grind in people's workplace, man. All these different things are starting to come to a slow halt, man. All right, they're trying to get borrow more and more money for this and more money for that. All right, you seeing more and more cheaper quality things being sold now. All right. So it says, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. All right. So, hey, and that's another thing you got going on right now. Music is at an all-time low, man. Like, just, you don't have no creativity, no type of inspiration from none of this music. It's just y'all, trick, Percocet, Molly. That's all they talk about nowadays, It says, verse 5, also when he shall be afraid of that which is on high, and fear shall be in the way, that the almond tree shall flourish, and the grasshopper shall be a burden, and desire shall fail, because man goeth to his long home, and mourners go about to the streets. All right, because why? People now, people used to have that inspiration to do great things in life. Oh, I'm gonna go to college. I'm gonna go do this. I'm gonna go travel the world. I want to be this when I get older or whatever, whatnot. But now people are coming into this here economy. You know, when I was in school, they told me when I was in school, like, yo, y'all ain't gonna have no goddamn retirement fund. Y'all ain't gonna have no pensions. Y'all ain't gonna have none of that. They gonna wind up taking all that before you get there, man. So I was already prepped for that at that point in time. But how much more this society that's coming up now, man? They see it ain't nothing left, man. They see it as nothing for them. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, they see that all these things are all gone, man. All right. So it says, matter of fact, let me go to my other precept real quick. What was it? 7. Oh, no. It's a lot. It's like, bear with me 1 second, brother. Oh, it's not 13. It's a lot. Here it is right here. 2nd Ezra 16 and 14. No. Verse 17. Salakia. 2nd Ezra 16 and 17. Woe is me, who will deliver me in those days. All right. This is where these things, you know, when you put a lot of these things in perspective, man. All right. Economic collapse, martial law. You ain't gonna be able to eat. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have an all-out purge and all these different things going on, man. All right. It's gonna be woe is me, who's gonna deliver me in those days when you actually step back and take a look at it, man. And this is like the fear of the Lord. And this is, you know, a lot of the minute the Lord see this, man, we see that there's no way out, man. We know what we up against. And we know that there's no way out but having faith in YAHAWASHI and praying for salvation. All right. So it says, verse 18, the beginning of sorrows and great mourning and the beginning of famine. All right. Now this is going into what we read in Matthew 24, right? The beginning of sorrows. All right. It says, now these are the things that's going to be happening in these times, all right? It says the beginning of sorrows and great mourning, all right? People are going to be heavily depressed, man. And what you have going on right now? A lot of suicides and a lot of people drinking and doing drugs heavily right now because why? They're trying to escape. Escape what? The reality of, especially these Edomites, you know, they're on the downtrodden side right now because they're losing jobs, the farmers and things like that. Trade wars is fucking them up. The storms and stuff is fucking up their crops, all right? So what? For them, this is bad for them because, you know, they losing out on some money. You know, they going broke, man. But for Jake, it don't really fucking matter to Jake. We was already broke, man. You know what I'm saying? To be honest with you, what you gonna do? Evict us, bitch? We already evicted. You know what I'm saying? We gonna lose all our money in our savings accounts, bitch? We ain't even got a bank account. We gonna lose money in the stock market, bitch? We ain't got no extra money to put in the stock market. So we can't really lose nothing, man. Unless you got a little bit of something like in the 2008 collapse where those Jakes that did have a little bit of money and some credit to go get homes, they lost, you know, they fucked up their credit. But other than that, they ain't really have nothing to really lose because that was the only thing they was getting at that point in time. The first thing they was getting is a home. All right, so what? We're not really affected by the stock market and things like that collapsing. But nevertheless, well, we are, you know, when the dollar gets devalued because you still got to go buy food. But nevertheless, when these types of things, you know, you don't see Jake committing suicide looking at the stock market or how do you say, produce and farming goods aren't being sold, man. These are the Edomites that's doing that, all right? Because they see what's coming in the future, all right? It says the beginning of sorrows and great mourning, the beginning of famine and great death, all right? And going into famines, you know, like I was just speaking on, you know, there was those blizzards and stuff that just fucked up a lot of the crops here in America, all right? Not just that, though. You got the trade war going on, all right? It says the beginning of famine and great death. Another thing, man, if the economy collapsed, man, you're going to be devalued your money like in Venezuela, man. I mean, they had the so-called food, but it was costly for them to be able to bring it in. But the money that they had was devalued. So what? They weren't able to eat there either, you know? It says the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do in these things when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for an amendment. All right, and this is what's going on here in Babylon, man, from the California wildfires to the damn blizzard we just had over there as well, too. All right, for the uprisings of the people around the world, man. All right, all these different things going on. But ultimately, we talking about this here economic collapse, which is going to lead into the RFID chip, which is the mark of the beast, man. All right, so these are all the signs, the tall tale signs that we at the end all be all, man. All right, and this is Babylon about to croak, man. All right. Verse 20, but for all these things they should not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. That's what you got going on right now, man. You got more and more Jake right now, so-called waking up to how to win in this here society. Let's just do this. Let's do that. Let's do this. Let's vote black. Let's shop black. Let's do all these different things black. And they think that this is gonna push them into the society. They don't realize this whole place is about to be turned into a nuclear pile of ash or a lake of fire, man. All right. These people, how do I say it? The Israelites, 2/3 of our people are brainwashed by Esau in this society, whereas Esau know that this is the end of his shit. That's why he committing suicide. But Jake think, you know, a gift destroyed at this heart, man. That's why they just giving Jake all these different things, because why? They're going to try to use Jake as a scapegoat. You prop it up while we try to save face on whatever else we got left over, man. But these other Edomites, the ones with their eyes open, they already know what the hell's coming, what's around the corner, man. They already see it. That's why a lot of them are committing suicide, man. All right, it says, verse 21, behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon the earth that they shall think themselves in a good case, and even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. And that's the stage that we in now, man. All right, because look, victuals are so cheap. People think that, oh, I can just go spend a dub on this and go spend, you know, 100 on this or whatever. What? No, that ain't a big deal. You know what I'm saying? That's just whatever. You know, they can just go out and go spend their money however they want, whatever they want. They're not sitting there watching every dollar that they spend. Like, I don't know, the next time I'm gonna get some more money, I gotta ration out, you know, my little money so I can make sure I got bottled water so we can survive. You know what I'm saying? So on and so forth. You know. They're not thinking in that type of state because, wow, they got the liberty to go and buy McDonald's 24 hours a day, go to Walmart 24 hours a day, do a lot of different things 24 hours a day, man. They can go do Uber and get money 24 hours a day, man. All right, so they think that right now is the best time to be around and they all relax and calm. So when they hear us talk about economic collapse and the RFID chip and the end of Babylon and so on and so forth, it sounds weird to them because, why? They a gift destroyed the heart, man. They so-called getting a little bit of money here and it's so-called being good to them, man. All right, but ultimately these are distractions from this place going down, you know, rapidly, man. All right, you know, you got to have a spiritual eyes to be able to see these things, or like these elites see it as well too. But you know, from us on our perspective, man, you gotta be able to have these spiritual eyes to be able to discern what's going on, because Esau is moving, you know, and he's playing multiple different games of chess at the same damn time, man. All right, you know, you got the wars going on, wars and rumors of wars going on. All right, you got the RFID chip brewing, economic collapses brewing. All right, the clashes and civil war and unrest between the different nations. All right, then ultimately you got a thermonuclear missile war also brewing, man, at the same time, man. You got all these different things popping off at the same time, but it's all being orchestrated by Esau, all right, to, you know, how do I say, ultimately bring in his new world order system. But like, let me grab that real quick. I'll end off with this. I want to say probably verse 15. This is Job 20 and 15. He hath swallowed down riches and shall vomit them up again. The Most High shall cast them out of his belly. So he swallowed down all these different resources around the earth, but what? He's going to wind up vomiting it back up. All right, verse 18. That which he labored for shall he restore, and shall not swallow it down. According to the substance shall the restitution be, and shall not rejoice therein. All the things Esau wound up doing, he's going to have to pay it back forward, you know. All the resources he stole, he's paying that back, and then ultimately, like you read in the book of Revelation, reward her double even as she rewarded you. All right, let me just jump down to read verse 22 and 23. In the fullness of his sufficiency, hang on, I think I might have skipped another verse I wanted to read. No, that was it. Going back down, Job 20 and 22. In the fullness of his sufficiency he shall be in straits, and every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. When he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eaten. He shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. All right, that's talking about what? Those thermonuclear missiles. But nevertheless, you know, the things that Esau wound up swallowing down is going to be the restitution of things he's going to wind up having to pay up. All right, and when he's about to fill his belly, when he's about to implement, fully turn on this new world order system, is when the Most High is going to bring destruction, all right? And then when you read these other prophecies, you see all these things brewing all together, man. It's all come quickly as a domino effect, man. RFID chip, economic collapse, the purge, all right, martial law, all right, then World War III, then ultimately the chariots coming back, and then ICBM missiles destroying this place with the chariots, and chariots also delivering out the elect, man. These things are all going to run simultaneously. But we can also measure the times diligently by reading these here articles, all right? We can measure these times diligently by reading these here articles and seeing where we at. This is 2 Ezra chapter 9, verse 1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past which I've told thee, then thou shalt understand it is the very same time when the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, which, hey, just go back and look at the brothers' videos of all last week, man. This was heavy in the spirit, man. All these different uproars and protests around the world, man. All right, thou shalt well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that was before thee, even from the beginning. And when we're reading about these things, all these things were written way before they started taking place right here and right now, man. All right. Verse 5, for like as all that is made in the world have a beginning and an end, the end is manifest. Even so, the times also of the highest have plain beginnings and wonders and powerful works and endings and effects and signs. All right, so what? These things are made obvious what's going on, man. These things are all happening on what they will call a biblical proportion, man. All at the same time, all around the whole world. Calamities and uproars of the people, man. Economies collapsing, global economic recession coming, man. All right, all these different things are letting us know what times that we in. So we need to do what? Measure the time diligently. All right, make sure that we have our house in order. You know, we're not like the 5 unwise virgins trying to get some oil at the last minute. Make sure we got our oil and our lamps trimmed. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, this here lesson was edifying unto the elect. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahawah, Bahashim, YAHAWASHI, Bahashim, Rakakudash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, the great millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you. I can pushing this truth and sincerity in the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Until next time, I say stay strong and shalom.